I'm Terry David Mulligan. This is Mulligan Stew, the podcast, music, film, food, and wine. The film and the wine stories are coming. This is a music story. This is one of the music stories. Our guest is Doug Clifford. Now think about that name for a second, because he wasn't the lead guy in Creedence Clearwater Revival, but he was one of the originals when there were the Blue Velvets and the Gollywogs, and they were one of the hottest bands in the world. They outsold the Beatles for 2 years, I think, in the world, certainly in America, and I think in the world. And CCR, of course, were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993, but John Fogerty, their partner and leader, refused to play with them because they had had a ripped-out relationship. And so he played a CCR tune or two with Robbie Robertson and Bruce Springsteen. So, yes, there's some bad blood there, my friends. Doug Clifford is just wrapping up many, many years of touring as Creedence Clearwater Revisited, which really, if they were having fights when they were a band, you can imagine what it's like with Doug Clifford heading out and doing CCR tunes and no sign of John Fogerty. But it works both ways. It's a nasty, nasty battle. It was tough to watch. Now, a couple of things. We're going to talk about their appearance, CCR's appearance at Woodstock. And many people don't even know they were at Woodstock because John Fogerty would not let them. They shot the band in concert at 1 o'clock in the morning, but John Fogerty would not let them put the band in the film. But now that the anniversary of Woodstock has come around, there's a new recut of the Woodstock film, and they're in it, and they're going to be rediscovered all over again. There's a box set out there as well. It celebrates 40 years of CCR. How big were CCR? They released 7 albums from 1968 through 1972, including 3 in 1969 alone: Green River, Bayou Country, and Willie and the Poor Boys. And that's when they outsold the Beatles. So now the Woodstock concert is coming out, and we can all hear it. There's one more concert that's still in the cellars and hasn't come out yet, but it is coming out. It's their concert at Royal Albert Hall in London. So we're going to talk about a lot of things, CCR and Doug Clifford on Mulligan Stew, the podcast. Well, welcome to, first of all, welcome to CKUA and welcome to Alberta. I know you're here Thursday, the 25th. For what is called, I'm quite surprised to actually read it. I'd heard, but I hadn't read it, that this is a farewell tour for you guys. This is your 25th anniversary tour, and you're shutting her down.
Yeah, we talked about it. We've talked about it over the last year or so, and we've accomplished everything and then some with this project. We had a 5-year plan initially. We hoped to get 1 year under our belt, let alone 5. So here we are, 5 times that number, and we have other things to do in our lives, and the clock is ticking. More time with family and grandchildren, things like that. Also, get off the treadmill of the road. Traveling is not so friendly in the skies as it may have been in the past, or you just get tired of it. You know,
it gets old. It gets old.
Yeah, you're running like mad to catch a plane that you have to make, and you don't get it. You know, it's time. We're really excited about it. We're kind of celebrating a very successful part of our lives, and Stu and I are kind of just in awe of what's happened here. And 25 years have gone by like, whew,
yeah, but it's more actually. When you think about it, it's it's far more than that because you guys were 13 years old in El Cerrito when you started to sort of be a garage band. You know, just fool around, just messing around with instruments and figuring out what you wanted to do, and the gollywogs and the Viscounts and all that stuff. So it's been a lot longer than 25 years for you guys.
Well, I'm just referring to the Revisited part of it.
Yeah.
That's 25 years. Creedence had its 50th anniversary last year.
Yep.
And so, you know, there's 75 years. No, it can't be that long. I'm not that old. I can still add.
It's the 50th anniversary of Woodstock. I know that. And for the 40th, here's what I loved about it. You guys were almost non-existent for that first Woodstock album. You were there and you played, but it was decided you weren't going to throw something. I think they wanted the wrong track from you guys. But on the 40th anniversary, 3 tracks came out, and I played them. Green River, Bad Moon Rising, and I Put a Spell on You. How long was your set at Woodstock?
I think it was around 50 minutes, maybe 50 minutes to an hour. Wasn't very long. We didn't play long sets back in those days. Everyone was supposed to play the whatever the number was, probably an hour, and a lot of people went over that mark. Other people had rain delays, and then once you have that with electronics, then you have equipment problems. You know, so it's amazing that it went as smoothly as it did under those circumstances.
When you hear those two, how's it sound now to your ears?
You know, I haven't really paid much attention to it. Sounds good. I mean, it was John Fogerty who didn't want to be in the movie, and it's taken us 50 years, and we're still not in the there's no video for this release. It's just the audio part of it, and I'm going, seeing is believing. If people could see us at Woodstock, and then they might believe that we were there, but most people don't know about it. And quite honestly, I think had we not played or accepted the date, there probably wouldn't have been a Woodstock, and I'll tell you why. All the big boys were sitting on the sidelines because the promoters had never really done anything in the big time before. They had a concept for a concert, but they hadn't no practical experience. So when we said yes, we were the number one band in the land for concerts and record sales. And once we said yes, then everybody jumped in. Had we not, nobody would have jumped in, and there would be no phone call right now.
Nah, the music lives on. Listen, Woodstock is okay. I mean, I went to Woodstock too, and it's not the highlight of my life, but I certainly remember the excitement. What's more important is what you just said, 1969. I mean, you had incredible hits. You had actually, here's what I remember about being a disc jockey then, and that was they were double-sided hits. You just didn't play one side of a CCR single. And so all of those hits now are what you're taking out on stage, and everybody knows the melodies, everybody knows the lyrics. Tell me about what gets the most reaction after you walk out on stage now. What is it? What are they waiting for? What tunes are they actually want to hear the first notes of?
Well, I think it really is dependent upon what song is their favorite or not their favorite. Certainly the obvious ones are Proud Mary, Fortunate Son, Down on the Corner, Who Will Stop the Rain. Those everybody knows that. But when we play Lodi, it's not such a well-known song. It's a surprise. A lot of people go, "Oh, I didn't know they did that one." Hey Tonight, another one that was a hit. Not that many people. It's not like immediately recognizable. So that's always fun. Just to catch those reactions. my favorite song is what we lead off with. It's "Born on the Bayou," so I get to, mine happens fast. And you hit the nail on the head about the double-sided hits. I mean, we put out 3 albums in '69, and we had a burn rate that was double the rate for singles, because you put a single out and you play that single and it runs its course, and then you put another single out. But we put a single out and we put out 2 at once. So that's double time there, buddy.
There were no throwaways with CCR, absolutely, positively. Now here's I want to talk to you, Doug, about actually about just sitting behind the kit. Here's the deal. Last weekend I had a chance to do an interview with David Hood from the Swampers, Muscle Shoals, the guy on bass, and Leland Sklar, the guy in Los Angeles on bass. And we were, funny enough, we ended up talking about drummers. But we also talked about the rhythm section of music that we grew up with, that we know. This rhythm section with CCR and your band, I think, frankly, we take it for granted because it is so locked down. What's it feel, because you're in the kit and you're surrounded by this music. Tell me what it feels like when you hit Born on the Bayou, when you hit that groove.
Oh, I can't even say it on radio. It's pretty amazing. It's I get adrenaline when I play concerts. I don't get adrenaline when I practice because there's no fans in front of us and people yelling and screaming, and getting that energy and looking around and seeing the rest of the guys on stage. There's nothing like it. It's the best drug in the world, and it's legal. So it's hard to describe. And that's going to be the bittersweet part of what we're doing now, going down the last year. But at the same time, it is time. It's a great time to do it. 25 years with Revisited. That's more than what we had hoped to accomplish. We had a platinum album out of it. We were never going to put any records out. So all these things have happened, and I still get that adrenaline rush. And it's hard to describe, but there's nothing like playing hit after hit after hit for a rock and roll audience.
Where's the last gig?
When's the last gig?
And where?
Well, that's sort of up in the air. We're going to do a 3-show run in New Zealand in January, and I'd like to have the last show be happen in America, so I don't have to bring my entire family over to New Zealand. That would be a huge distraction for me. I know that. They all want to go, so it'd be a lot easier if it was someplace where we could drive to, or have short flights and that sort of thing. So the actual date for the last show is still sort of up in the air.
Roughly, like early 2020?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then once you do that, have you picked up your last drumstick?
No, I have a bunch of them laying around the house that I can grab. I have them, stuck in couches.
Doug, half of that is anger management. You just get to pound on skins.
Well, the skin that I pound on when I'm sitting watching television is me. I play on my legs and knees. The takeaway part of the hit, you hit down with a drumstick, but then there's the takeaway. You've got to get that stick back, for the next note. So drummers know about that sort of thing. So the back draw is as important as the down stroke. So those are just things you do while you're just to keep your hands going, and then of course I practice on my little Roland electronic kit. And I do that because I can play full bore with headphones on, and no one hears but me. So I keep the missus very happy that I'm not
nice
on a full kit.
Nice.
You got me also.
You got your priorities right there.
Yeah, exactly. Happy wife, happy life.
Oh, jeez. Tell us about it.
We just had our 50th anniversary as well last year, so a lot of 50ths going around.
It was your greatest gig, Doug, right there. Your marriage.
Yeah, that's the best one.
Who did who did the best cover of a CCR song, do you think?
Well, Tina Turner, no doubt about that. She, Proud Mary, she used her spin on it. She made it hers, and just awesome power. And I love Tina.
Who's now? Is there any? I know the music business has changed for all of us. Is there anyone out there now making music that reminds you of you guys?
Not really. What we did was pretty unique. We started when we were 13, or at least the three of us, John, Stu, and I did. Tom was 4 years older. He brought us in to back him up in the studio so he could take a side or two down to L.A. and try and get a record deal for himself. And at that point, it would be us. He had a band that was, I guess, prototypical musicians. They didn't see the opportunity that he was presenting. He wanted them to learn a couple songs to go record, and they said, "Are we getting paid?" He says, "No, it's costing me a fortune to do it, and then to drive to L.A. and do all those things." And he said, "There going to be any chicks there?" "No, they're not. This is a recording session." And so they said, "No, we'd rather work on our cars." So, enter the Blue Velvets, So he came to us and said, "Will we back him up in the studio?" And we said, "Make a record?" He said, "Yeah." And we said, "Wow, how exciting!" And that was the beginning of it. Without Tom, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And it took us 10 years to have our first hit. So, and it was first played on the radio at KSAN.
KSAN.
So, there's that history, coming
full
again.
circle. How about that, man?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think now that you're making plans and you will do your last gig and you'll step away from the business, does any of that repair the relationship with John?
Not really, but we are at this point in time where we have a partnership for merchandise online for our fans. We've been trying to get this to happen for 50 years, or at least 40 years, and so that is now happening. But nobody's inviting anyone over for dinner.
Yeah.
It's strictly a business thing, and at least that's a step in the right direction. I have no desire to ever play with him, and he feels the same way about us. So, hey, let's at least do something for the fans that they've wanted all these years. I'd like to have a Creedence Clearwater Revival shirt, So, and certainly all my grandkids need to be dressed out, and so that's in play right now, being finalized, and so on and so forth. So, that's about as close as it's going to get, and at least it's in a positive direction.
I was just thinking back to when I was that era, 1969, when everybody wanted to jam and wank out. That's why you saved my sanity. I needed that 3-minute hit. That's exactly what I needed. And I needed that 3 minutes not to be a waste of time. I wanted it to be involved right from the first drum beat to the last vocal. I wanted it to just be everything I needed in a 3-minute record. And God bless you for doing that.
Well, that's what we grew up doing. We were listening to the top 40. And so that's how I learned to play, by listening to top 40 radio, and that meant, if you're listening to the radio, those songs are all hits, or on their way up the charts or on their way off the charts, but they were successful songs to be able to be on on a playlist like that. So you're learning from the best. All those licks, and I was really more into the black music than the what the white guys were doing. I loved R&B, and I loved horns, and the R&B power.
That whole Stax Vote thing.
Elvis, of course, was in there as well, and Sun Records. So we aspired to be like that. And if there was a note in there that was surrounded by notes that were meaningful, and it's not really doing much, don't play it. Throw it out.
Don't need it. Listen, we appreciate the fact that you're bringing this north into Canada, the land of the free, home of the brave. Never mind. We are just north of you, and we are a peaceful, polite population. But there's no guarantees once you hit that stage at the River Cree Resort and Casino in Enoch, and all hell's going to break loose.
Well, that's what we do. So and of course, thinking about it as each gig goes by, that's the light. That light gets bigger and bigger at the end of the tunnel. So you want to maximize on that. You always do, but this is a little different circumstance now. Where we're actually saying, hey, we're going to do other things. I still will be involved in music. I have a publishing company. I have an album that should be coming out next year, and so I'll go from the performance side to the creative side, and but I can do that all from my studio in my house. So the travel is going to be gone.
Doug Clifford, listen, congratulations on your induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, thank you.
That's a big deal, my friend. Big deal. That's what everybody aspires to.
Well, the thing that's good about it is you're voted in by your peers. That's what gives it credence, if you will.
Yep.
That's always a tip of the hat to or from your peers. So that's pretty cool.
Exactly. Have yourself a great listen. Wherever that last gig is, hell, you could go all the way back to El Cerrito, but why would you? Just find yourself a great room and enjoy that last gig. Okay.
Will do.
Thank you. Have yourself a great run, and congratulations for all those years.
Thanks, Terry. I appreciate it.
Cosmo, Doug Cosmo Clifford, the drummer for Creedence Clearwater Revival. This is Mulligan Stew. We're a podcast. You can subscribe to all the podcasts at Google Play, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And we have more to come. Bobby Rush, Augie Meyer, The Small Glories, Mary Gauthier, Harpoonist and the Axe Murderer, Con Brio from San Francisco, the Bay Area, Donovan Woods, and more. It's going to be fun. Please join us, and thank you for listening.